On August 21, 2024, in the village of Tavşantepe, located in Turkey, in the Diyarbakir region, an 8-year-old girl named Narin Güran went missing. Her body was found 18 days later on September 8th, 2 kilometers from the village, in a riverbed. The child was returning home from Quran study classes at 3:00 p.m. However, Narin never reached her home. Search teams immediately began operations. Days passed, but the search produced no results. During the search for the girl, police, gendarmerie units, and emergency services inspected more than 12,000 vehicles and 32,000 people, questioned 130 individuals, and searched over 1,100 hectares of land with the assistance of service dogs. It became evident that the child had not gotten lost on her way home and that the disappearance was of a criminal nature. What then actually happened in this village? Diyarbakir is a city and district in southeastern Turkey. It is considered the unofficial capital of northern Kurdistan. In the Diyarbakir province lies the village of Tavşantepe, known for its rich history and cultural diversity. This village, like many others in the region, is located in a rural area and has a population of only 445 people. It was here that this mysterious murder took place. After Narin's disappearance, the Diyarbakir feminist organization organized a protest with the slogans "Narin ne oldu," "What happened to Narin?" and "Narin nerede?" Where is Narin? The main suspect in Narin's case became her uncle, Salim Güran, who himself actively participated in the search efforts. According to some sources, after the girl's disappearance, he convened a family council and instructed all relatives, from children to adults, to give complicated and inconsistent testimonies during interrogations, thereby misleading the investigation. It should be noted immediately that Narin's uncle holds the position of village headman and has significant influence in the region. Almost all of the village residents are related to one another, and any decisions are made only after consultation with the headman. It also became known that several years earlier, Narin's older sister had died under suspicious circumstances. The girl allegedly fell down the stairs and sustained injuries incompatible with life. However, no autopsy or forensic examination was conducted. As a result, the police decided to re-examine the circumstances surrounding the child's death. At the most recent family council, a decision was made to shift the blame for the girl's murder onto the key witness, Nevzat Bakhtiar, who confessed that he had hidden Narin's body on Salim's orders. Arrested and placed in a closed facility, the witness Nevzat Bakhtiar, tormented by guilt, stated that he was ready to tell everything he knew. Bakhtiar was secretly transported to court under heightened security measures. At the most recent family council, a decision was made to shift the blame for the girl's murder onto the key witness, Nevzat Bakhtiar, who confessed that he had hidden Narin's body on Salim's orders. Arrested and placed in a closed facility, the witness Nevzat Bakhtiar, tormented by guilt, stated that he was ready to tell everything he knew. Bakhtiar was secretly transported to court under heightened security measures. The interrogation lasted a full 4 hours. This is what he stated.
On the day the girl was strangled, August 21st, at 3:08 p.m., I called Salim Güran regarding a certain matter. Salim summoned me to the hill where his brother Arif's house is located. Together, we entered the house belonging to Salim and Arif. All the doors were closed except for one room. I did not see anyone inside the house, including Narin's mother, because I did not hear any sounds. When Salim, the girl's uncle, led me into one of the rooms, I saw Narin lying motionless on the ground to the left. As far as I remember, there was foam in Narin's mouth. The girl's uncle, Salim Güran, told me, Narin saw us while we were having sex with her mother, and I killed her. Now you are my accomplice because you have witnessed this incident. You must get rid of this body. Otherwise, I will have your son taken out of the football school and I will shoot him. Destroy this, and afterward I will give you 100,000 lira. That is approximately 4,673 US dollars. Then Salim and I together wrapped the body in a blanket. After Salim handed the body over to me, I left the house. At the door were Narin's slippers, as instructed by Salim. I took them as well and placed them in the blanket, and then headed toward my house to put them in my car. At first, I left the body in the shed. Then I quickly covered the body with a sack, but I did not tie it, and handed the blanket over to Salim, who arrived in his car. Salim placed the blanket into his vehicle. He told me, if necessary, dismember the body and then throw it into the Eger Tutmos River. At that moment, when I looked up toward Harif's house, I saw Narin's mother watching me, holding her face in her hands and crying. I transported the body to the Eger Tutmos River and left it at the location I had previously shown to the police. I placed a large stone on it so as not to attract attention. However, one of Narin's legs remained sticking out of the sack. I could not tie it or fix it because I was acting in haste and panic. Then I left the scene. After all of this, I did not communicate with Salim either in person or by phone. A few days later, when we met on the road, he greeted me. I do not know whether Salim saw the place where I left the body. However, the Eger Tutmos River is clearly visible from the elevated parts of the village, as it is located at a high elevation, so Salim could have been watching me and seen where I took the body. But I definitely did not kill Narin. I only left the body in the Eger Tutmos River because Salim ordered me to do so.
According to the report, Narin's death was caused by asphyxiation resulting from the obstruction of her mouth and nose and the compression of her neck. One of the most alarming details was that Narin's DNA was found on the front seat of Salim's vehicle. It was also emphasized that the injury which caused the girl's left leg to be severed below the knee had been inflicted by animals. After her death, during the autopsy, it was impossible to collect samples of Narin's teeth because they had been removed. Forensic medical expert Professor Halis Dox explained that the absence of the teeth was unnatural and caused by artificial factors. These teeth did not fall out on their own and were not destroyed after death due to prolonged submersion in water. This was the result of external interference, meaning each tooth had been pulled out and broken. Earlier reports indicated that bite marks had been found on Narin's older brother's hand. He was arrested, along with 12 other individuals involved in this case. However, in the end, it was impossible to determine whether the bite marks belonged to Narin, since the child's teeth had been removed or damaged either post-mortem or during her lifetime. This case shocked the public and, as previously mentioned, drew the attention of feminist organizations. Several Turkish women's organizations, following Narin's murder, have demanded government accountability in the areas of family and marriage and have criticized state policies influenced by religious values and outdated norms. In particular, they highlighted the authority of parents over children and of husbands over wives. In the first 7 months of 2020 alone, at least 14 girls were killed. Narin's name appears first on the list maintained by the local initiative We Will Stop Femicide, which documents cases of women being murdered. According to their data, 269 women were killed in Turkey over the past year. Activists and some public figures, in response to Narin's death, raised the issue of protecting children's rights, particularly the rights of girls. Girls' lives do not matter in the eastern part of the country, the activists noted. Girls are still being married off at very young ages there, depriving them of their right to an education. Taking this opportunity, activists sought to remind the world of the murder of a young woman who was arrested and beaten for not wearing a hijab in Iran. 22-year-old Mahsa Amini lived in the Iranian city of Saqqez, in the Kurdistan province. She had traveled to Tehran with her family. However, On September 13, 2022, near the metro, she was stopped by the so-called morality police for allegedly not following the hijab rules. Soon after, the Iranian woman was taken to Kasra Hospital in Tehran with severe injuries and a brain trauma. That evening, doctors informed her relatives that she could not be saved as she had suffered a heart attack and a stroke. The young woman fell into a coma. Her heart continued to beat, but her brain had already stopped functioning. A few hours later, her death was announced. Activists took to the streets in protest, cutting their hair and burning headscarves. Here is a detail that emerged in Narin's case. A wedding dress was noticed on her coffin. At first glance, one might ask, why place a wedding dress on an 8-year-old child? Turkish actress Ezgi Mola wrote on her social media,
"If you are looking for symbolism, here it is. Why dress a little girl in a wedding gown? Because this is the kind of life offered to girls in this village. They are expected to become someone's wife. And yet, the people gathered here say that Narin today should have been going to school, not to the altar."
The parents later explained that their daughter's cousin's wedding was approaching, and Narin had asked them to buy her this dress for the celebration. One of the villagers who visited Narin's grave removed the dress and placed a school uniform, a backpack, toys, and flowers instead. The Assembly of the Star Congress condemned the murder of 8-year-old Narin. It is known that the state uses false religion to maintain its control in Kurdistan. Social values have been passed on to rapists and the mafia under the guise of religion. The residents of Ahmed must not allow their children to be educated by sectarians and killers. Leaving the veil on Narin's coffin is the result of such a mentality. Girls need to be given a free life. As the Star Congress, we will defend the rights of women and children to the very end. It was not only Narin who was killed, the conscience, honor, and morality of society were also murdered. Narin's case did not leave many people indifferent. In her memory, famous Kurdish singers composed songs about her. Just 4 days after the girl's body was discovered, 10 people were arrested in connection with her murder, including her mother, her uncle, and her older brother. After 3.5 months of investigation and trial proceedings, a verdict was issued in the criminal case. The girl's mother, Yüksel Güran, her brother, Enes Güran, and her uncle, Salim Güran, were sentenced to life imprisonment. They were found guilty of Narin's murder. A neighbor, also accused in the girl's murder, Salim Güran's uncle, Nevzat Bakhtiar, who confessed to concealing the case for financial gain, was sentenced to 4 years and 6 months in prison. It is known that all those sentenced to life imprisonment intend to appeal the verdict, and all of them deny their involvement in the murder. It was also reported that the imam of the village in the Turkish province of Diyarbakir, where 8-year-old Narin Güran was killed, was dismissed from his position. According to reports regarding the imam who had previously been detained during the investigation into the murder and later released, an administrative investigation was initiated. It is noted that allegedly unethical materials were found on his phone. Following this, the Directorate of Religious Affairs of Turkey decided to suspend the imam from his position. What do you think about this? Share your opinion in the comments. Support the video with a like and subscribe to the channel. Take care of yourselves and see you next time.